my story.
David Hoppe is former chief of staff for House Speaker Paul Ryan. And Marianne Marsh is a former senior advisor to John Kerry. Marianne, I want to get your fresh reaction to that this morning.
Well, look, Donna has a right to tell her story, but I think there's a big difference between what she apparently wrote, what she's been saying, and what's been reported, whether it's the agreement, whether it was the her own decision thought process about replacing Hillary Clinton, which she wouldn't have been able to do. All
right. And David, while we I'm getting Marianne back here. I want to let you know what they said in that letter. 100 former staffers wrote of Brazille in this open letter published Saturday night. Quote, she is a longtime friend and colleague of many of us and has been an important leader in our party, but we do not recognize the campaign she portrays in that book.
Well, she is a longtime and senior leader in the Democratic Party as a politician in the party, and somebody who's led many campaigns and been involved. And she believes and has stated there was a fact pattern showing that that Secretary Clinton's campaign had control over many key areas of the DNC as much as a year before the Democratic Convention in 2016 that gave them an advantage over anybody else who was going to run against them. Obviously, Senator Sanders was the main competition. But this fact pattern is one that she's established pretty clearly and seems to be undeniable, at least from things she has pointed out and that we've seen thus far.
We're going to work on bringing Marianne Marsh back. We had a little bit of a problem with her shot. So, David, let's stay with you on this, because we also learned from this portion of her book that she considered replacing Clinton and her running mate, Tim Kaine, with Vice President Joe Biden and Cory Booker. Donna Brazille was asked about potentially putting Biden on the ticket, and here was her response to that.
I had to put it on the table, George, because I was under tremendous pressure after Secretary Clinton fainted to have a quote-unquote plan B. I didn't want a plan B. Plan A was great for me.
She said when she was considering this, David, she said, I thought of Hillary and all the women in the country who were so proud of her, excited about her. I could not do this to him, her words.
Yeah, I think this has to be the first time in history that both major parties thought about replacing their candidates within the last 2 months before an election. Donna Brazille having to go through, make these decisions and try and make a decision on this. Having said that, it is a very hard process to start that and move it forward. I'm not sure exactly how you do it legally. Apparently both parties have the ability to talk about it. What exactly they can do, I don't know, but it really is ironic that we have this campaign in 2016 in which both parties in the last 2 months were apparently seriously considering this.
Marianne Marsh is back with us, and I know we could not hear you, but you could hear us, Marianne.
Okay.
But I most recently was talking with David about her release in this book, talking about her contemplation in replacing Hillary Clinton with Joe Biden at the time, but stopping short of that.
Well, which she could not do. She said that she didn't discuss it with anyone. It was her own counsel. But even if she had presented it, it would have never happened. You needed the entire support of the DNC and the congressional leadership. So that was a moot point. To go back to the agreement for a moment, the fact is that agreement has been in place for 15 years. Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders signed the very same agreement and took full advantage of it. Sanders chose not to. Donna actually had the same agreement when she was campaign manager for Al Gore.
Let me get Robbie Mook's reaction to that, because in this open letter that we started out with, Marianne, we know that John Podesta, the campaign's chairman, signed this, Huma Abedin, the campaign's vice chair and longtime Clinton confidant, and Robbie Mook, the campaign's manager. They signed this open letter pushing back against Donna Brazille. He appeared on another network this morning. Here's his response.
Signed an agreement with the DNC at the same time, both campaigns, and at the time that we signed the agreement, the DNC said to both of us, you can both, if you raise money in, have some say over how it's spent. So we went ahead and started raising and had some say over how it was spent. Bernie Sanders didn't. So we were offered the same thing at the same time. We just took them up on it. And Allison, honestly, what's disturbing to me about this is Hillary Clinton stepped up and literally saved the DNC.
David, to you first on that.
Well, these are agreements that are done between party and candidates, but this one seems to have gone awfully far. Perhaps Senator Sanders didn't take advantage of something he might have, and the Clinton campaign clearly did. But the Clinton campaign, the fact pattern was they had direct control over the DNC during the period of time that many of the decisions were made on when the debates were going to be in those sorts of situations. And so they had an advantage. Now, they maybe played the game better than Senator Sanders played the game, but this is something that it seems to me is sort of an internal issue that Democrats are going to have to figure out. Other Republican side people have said that that's not the type of agreement they have when they do these things.
Last word to you,
raise
Marianne.
money.
The fact is, Hillary Clinton played by the rules, and she raised $24 million for the DNC. Donald Trump raised $32 million for the RNC. If you are the, excuse me, if you're the top of the ticket, you get to decide how it's run. The top of the ticket every time in a presidential year or non-presidential year, if you're the top, you decide what happens with the rest of the ticket. Those are the rules. Period.
More details coming out on that this morning. Thanks to you both, and apologies for those technical difficulties, but thanks for staying with us.
Gremlins on a Monday. Win one for the American